It's an ever-changing world.
She should be back in a second.
Okay.
Chris, I'm not sure if I have your email. This is Howard.
Yeah. You know, actually, because I didn't see the
agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, I guess I was going by the list that I had, but I think I don't think it's complete, but I apologize. I'm still trying to work through some things, but if you can give me yours, I'll
Yeah. It's C.
Yeah.
Dutton
yeah.
at bridgefamilycenter.org.
All right. I'll send it out. If not, right after the meeting, or if I don't know if I could send it now, but
Okay.
anyways. All right.
Yep.
I apologize.
No worries, but I was sitting down and I was thinking, hey, I don't think I saw an agenda today.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. The meeting will come to order. Welcome to the February regular meeting of the West Hartford Prevention Council. My name is Carl Shields and I'm the chair of the board. This meeting is being conducted in a virtual format in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act as amended by Public Act number 21-2, which authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Members of the public can view the meeting, well, it's supposed to be live on West Hartford Community Television at www.whctv.org, but due to technical difficulties, that's not the case. It'll only be through recording at through www.youtube.com/WHCTV5. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing and will be available on the town's website for at least 45 days. Since we are conducting this meeting in a virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to mute your device when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order I see hands raised. If you are participating by audio only or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, main motions will be made by me and no second is necessary. We will proceed immediately to debate. These include motions to adopt, receive, or approve business items. Subsidiary motions still require a second. These include motions to amend. A member must be recognized before making a subsidiary motion, but any member can second a motion by just unmuting their line and saying second. Third, all speakers must make a good faith effort to state the person's name and title at the outset of each occasion that such person participates in the meeting. Fourth, all votes must be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. Fifth, a reminder that if any participant has a problem with connectivity, you should immediately call Andrea, whose phone number you were provided earlier. She will let me know when we will recess the meeting while the problem is resolved. If it cannot be resolved quickly, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate via audio only. I will now call the roll. Would the following members of the board please say present when your name is read? Bob Macca?
Present.
Patricia Graham?
Present.
Nordia Napier? Is Nordia here? No? Okay. Howard Jashevsky?
Present.
Kadzo Kangwana?
Present.
Heather Alex?
Present.
Chris Dutton?
Present.
Welcome all. I would also like to recognize the other public officials and town staff who are present. Please say present when your name is read. This is new, but I like it. Names of town staff present in meeting. Kelly Waterhouse.
Present.
Helen Rubino Turco. Social Worker Liaison, Social Services Director, Helen Rubino Turco, Social Services Manager, Astrid Calderon, is she here? No, okay. West Hartford Bloomfield Health District, Megan Westcott.
Present.
Assistant Principal, Conard High School, Tor Fisk.
Present.
Assistant Principal, Hall High School, Melissa Hickey.
Present.
Board of Education, Ari Steinberg.
Ari's now off and Claire Nazarella is taking her place.
Oh, my mistake. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I
I'm
have
fine.
to update. We need to update our list, Howard, I guess.
I have Claire on there, and Ari not, so.
Oh, I'm working off a bad list then. My mistake.
Okay.
West Hartford Police Department, Nicholas Sanford
Here.
and Joseph Hopkins.
Here.
Student representatives, Derek Williams and Natalie Gavalis.
Yay.
Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you all. A first order of business is approval of the minutes. I wanted to start with a point of clarification before going to approval of the minutes. And I think it was my mistake, actually. And we can approve the minutes, and I would take a motion to approve the minutes as is if there are no other amendments or revisions, but I want to point out an amendment, which was in the minutes about the accomplishments of and 2022 goals will be sent to the town council. We didn't vote as a council to do so, and we need to formally do that before sending it to the council. So we will do that today under old business. We would have to remove that from last month's minutes as something that formally occurred. So I'd like to make a motion to remove that from last month's minutes and move it to this month's old business if we could. And other than that, I approve of last month's minutes. If anyone else has other revisions, please say so at this time. Otherwise, I make a motion to accept the minutes as offered for last month. And we'll entertain a second if there are no other revisions.
This is Patricia. I'll second.
Okay. Given it's a little bit irregular, I'm going to take a roll call for a vote on that, actually. Bob Macca? Nordia? Not here. Howard?
In favor.
Kadzo?
In favor.
Heather?
Yes, in favor.
And Chris?
Yeah, in favor.
Okay, thank you all. Sorry about that error on my part. And old business. Coming right back to it. And I think we were all in favor of it last month, unless people had other thoughts or concerns or had reviewed it in further detail since last month. But is there any further discussion about the accomplishments for 2021 before we pass it on to the board, the council, the town council? If not, I make a motion that, I have to use the right language here. Hold on. I'd like to make a motion to pass that on to the town council. If there are no objections, the motion is unanimously carried. So noted. New business. I only had one actually, and that was changes that are going on in the low infection rate and changes in mask mandates and the opening up of so many things in the state. And I wanted to hear people's opinions on that.
Hi, this is Megan from the Health District.
Hi.
I would say that for this meeting specifically, I would be comfortable and in support of moving back to in-person for future months because the mask mandates are being lifted. We are seeing the case rates decrease by about 50% each week for the last 3 weeks. So, and most of the cases are still Omicron. We haven't seen any new crazy variants pop up yet. So for the time being, I would say that it would be okay to move back to in-person meeting.
Yeah, and this is 4 weeks away still. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Bob Mack, I'd also be in favor of meeting in person.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. That was my feeling about it also. Anyone else? I see a couple of head nods, so I guess we'll meet in person if we can find a room for next month. Kelly, could you help us with that, with finding a room for next month?
Yeah, we'll make sure. Usually I go through Andrea. She'll help me out.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Great. I look forward to seeing you live and in person next month. Any other new business for this month? No? Okay. Social services?
Kelly Waterhouse, representative for social services. So our Astrid has been out on leave since the beginning of January. So like everywhere else, other departments, our referrals and the intensity of cases have been on the rise. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of mental health concerns. We're seeing referrals for hoarding, substance abuse, you know, suicidal, you know, ideation or suicide loss, financial difficulties, housing shortages, you know, seeing more of an uptick in truancy referrals, JRB referrals. So things are definitely like busy right now. And I'm even getting referrals for family with service needs, which is a little different. That's kind of like a parent or somebody from the community making kind of their own referral. That it's not necessarily like an arrest or a truancy referral from the school. So they're coming in different avenues, which is good that folks are aware that this exists as a resource. You know, but I think everywhere is strapped. So we also I'll let Samantha do her own update maybe at the end of our part, because I know that she had joined. She's actually, yeah, she's on. So I'll come to her in a minute. Community court is back, like open. So Jackie, who goes there once a week, because of the increase in the COVID cases. She had bowed out of that for a bit. So, and obviously, you know, throughout COVID, the community court was closed for a while. So they're still playing catch up. So that has been busy. We offer a buried in treasures support group for hoarding, for those that identify that have a hoarding disorder and would like support. So we're winding down. That's the fourth group that social services has completed. And that's like a 16 session group for people. And it's been really successful. In time, there's also been basically like some peer-led, like ongoing support that has kind of come out of that. So for folks that have participated in the 16-week session, they've kind of created their own group for follow-up afterwards. You know, we continue to work with folks around energy assistance and things like that. I think we got some word today that CRT is a bit behind in processing referrals, and it looks like they're going to be ending their acceptance of like assistance like next week. Or wait, I might be getting that wrong. Samantha, actually, you can correct me. I don't know that was that CRT or was that through something else? I'm going to double check my email so I'm make sure I'm reporting that correctly. But why don't you go ahead and give your update?
I believe it's for Unite CT.
Unite CT.
Yes, they're short-staffed and overwhelmed with the applications, and so we're getting information that they're going to stop accepting applications for, I believe, the 15th, but I don't know the validity of that.
I think the email that we received said that that was updated on their website and they were getting reports because they were just so behind. So do you have anything else you want to share regarding kind of your relationship with the police department?
My name is Samantha Ennis. I'm the social work police liaison. I am at the police department in the community relations area on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I am at the social services office. The referrals and in collaboration with the police department has progressed. I'm, being asked to come out on calls that I could be of assistance. For example, calls that involve maybe seniors that have some hoarding stuff going on, or may want some support or need support with, food or transportation or different areas. And also on calls where there are concerns for mental health. For example, providers that may call the police department for a welfare check. I've also been involved in calls where there may be some domestic violence. And so kind of reaching out to the victim to offer some support and things of that nature. So yeah, we're progressing.
That's great. Samantha, could I just ask, is there a peer support group for the policemen themselves, or maybe Officer Sanford knows the answer to that, because that's such a incredibly stressful position also.
I know that they do have like EAP services that, they can utilize, but I don't know if there's any additional support. Maybe Officer Sanford could jump in on that.
I mean specifically a peer support sort of thing. When you mentioned peer support, that's what made me think of it. And how
Carl, sorry, it's Joe Hopkins, SRO at, oh, sorry, that was my dog. The SRO at Conard. I'm actually part of our department's peer support team. At the department, there's a series, or there's about, I would say we have about 10 to 12 members on the team. We've actually a couple times been recalled, whether it's for our own officers, families, family members, but we basically keep in contact with each other. We're headed by one of our lieutenants, Lieutenant Tom Leger, is a lieutenant for our training division. And we offer, we're definitely not, we're not therapists. We don't have those,
Yep.
licenses or anything like that, but we offer services and we're there. Everything is confidential, and
I'm so happy to hear that.
yeah, we have, my side, I think we had a recall last week or 2 weeks ago, and we had a couple over the last couple months. So we're there, and whenever we can, we try and get our own training in to meet and check in with one another, and keep everybody accountable, just to make sure we're there for the rest of the department.
Thank you. Those have been proven to be so highly effective. And I think when Samantha, you mentioned, or somebody mentioned domestic violence and what you folks see in the course of a day, it's really wonderful that you can support each other. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome.
Kelly, was that it, or?
Yeah, I don't have anything further for social services at this time.
You all set, Samantha?
Yes, I'm all set for now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Public health?
Hi there, Megan Westcott with the Health District. The Health District is currently conducting a community-wide, district-wide community health assessment to get a better understanding for where we're at with health in the community right now. The Health District has not conducted a health assessment in the past, so we know that things are always changing, especially after the pandemic and everything that's been going on with mental health in the recent years. So we are trying to get more information from the community on what health-related issues we should be prioritizing, which will help direct in decision-making for future public health programs. We will use data for applying for grants, trying to figure out what we should be focusing on. So we have developed an anonymous survey for residents to take questions relating to demographic information, mental health, behavioral health, risk factors, things that could impact health, physical health. So we have a digital survey as well as printed copies. I can email the link to our digital survey out, and I can also share the flyer that we have with a QR code to everybody after this meeting. Feel free to share that as appropriate. We would appreciate that. We're trying to reach as many residents as possible. And the results from this health assessment will be shared with the community at wide. So I will share the results with everybody and make sure everybody sees that in the coming months. COVID related, as I mentioned before, COVID rates are decreasing steadily, which is great news. Positivity rates have decreased. West Hartford, as of today, was just under 5% positivity for COVID. We're still offering at-home test kits at the Health District if anybody needs them. We did not end up getting masks. I know the town had been distributing them. We do not have those currently at the Health District, but we do have the COVID tests, and we're still offering boosters as needed. That is all. Thank you.
Megan,
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Kelly from Social Services. So for the survey, is that only targeted towards adults, or is there like youth related questions that youth can respond to?
Individuals 18 and above right now.
Okay. Are there any questions related to like youth vaping or substance use or whatever? I'm just curious.
Nothing for youth. No, there's questions regarding vaping and other substance abuse, but only for adults right now.
Okay. Thank you, Megan. Police Department?
I'll start. This is SRO Nick Sanford from Hall High School. I guess the only thing we can say is that we've seen an uptick in obviously fentanyl overdoses in the area in schools. With that being said, all our nurses have put Narcan units with all our AAD. So if there is an incident in school, we are prepared to treat and deal with them. And then I think there's going to be a training for certain staff members who haven't had any experience with Narcan administration coming up soon as well. But again, educating and trying to inform these kids with the vaping that we've seen a lot of fentanyl laced stuff. It's just, I know there was a case yesterday, an overdose in the school with Weathersfield. So, and we had the Bloomfield one earlier in the week. So it's definitely still a problem.
Yeah, and it's Joe again, Conard High School. Echoing what Nick said, I know we mentioned some of this last month as well, but it's still just as prevalent, and it's still going on. We're doing our best to kind of combat it and try and keep track, whether it's just hearing through other kids or having to unfortunately experience it through medical calls or whatever else. And there was something else I was going to mention. I don't remember what it was. If I remember, I'll chime back in.
Is there any thought of opening up trainings to parents or community members?
I can speak to that when I give my update. Well, at least partially speak to that. The schools maybe have a response too, but
Okay.
I can talk more about that later.
Okay, that would be great. All right. Anything else for the police? For the SROs? Okay, thank you. The public schools.
Hi, Torfus from Conard. I'll jump in for Conard and Hall. But really just to reiterate and echo what Kelly has said previously about kind of the mental emotional health issues that we continue to see, and do our best to support. And then also what Nick and Joe had talked about regarding substances. Continuing to remind families of what we have here available through, from an educational standpoint, through wellness classes, freshman seminar, community lessons, also what their, immediate community resources are with Chris and the Bridge, partnership with Wheeler Clinic, reminding families about 211 in an emergency, and things of that nature. We've got Chris Herron coming in to the district in April. He's been here before several years ago and was a powerful speaker that I think students on both sides of town really connected to. And Conrad's had a Herron Project Club for the last several years, students working with substance issues, substance prevention issues. And I know that Paul's following suit in that regard, and Melissa Hickey's done a lot of good work over there on that front as well. So continuing to support students and families on all those fronts.
Okay.
Tor, do you know if there's a component that's going to be for the parents with the Herron? I know that Chris Herron, I believe, is speaking to the youth, but
Yeah, good question, Kelly. I believe there is. Yes, I believe there is. Like that is an option whenever he comes to speak, and I believe we're adding that in, or the community of concern is helping to add that in for parents this year, is my understanding.
Well, it looks like their legislature is going to make some efforts at addressing children's and young adults' mental health issues in some sort of fashion this session, and it's a very short session, so things should be coming out in the next couple of months. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And I think it will impact the school systems by the sounds of it. Those have been some of the more successful models that they're going to be looking at. Okay. Anything else, Tor?
No, all set.
All set? Okay, thank you. The bridge, Chris?
Hi, yeah, so a lot of new stuff that I haven't reported, but just kind of updates. As always, our counseling and mentoring programs that we work primarily in the schools are jammed up nice and tight. We had about, I think, 9 kids stacked up on a waiting list for counseling services for in-school counseling. I hope I can get to all of them by the end of the year, but you know, kids don't turn over their therapists super often, so unfortunately we may not be able to. But you know, just to echo what the theme here is, the depth of the work just continues to be. I had one of my therapists today, we were having a extra supervision session to process a crisis situation, and she just said, you know, this is not the level of work that I was expecting to do in a school-based setting. She has a little bit of experience in more intensive settings, and it seems to be more in line with that type of work, right? We're just seeing a lot of, you know, we're also seeing themes of grief and loss. You know, whether it's directly related to COVID or just from the sort of general climate where, you know, things are happening, anxiety, frustration. You know, we see a lot of frustration come out in sessions that, you know, kids are just frustrated with sort of the unknown, the uncertainty, and the ongoing sort of, you know, it feels like the pandemic is kind of dragging on at this point for a lot of people, right? And, you know, not to minimize it at all, you know, we've got to take precautions, but you know, it's long. So we're just continuing to try to be as supportive as possible. The bridge obviously also has our mental health clinics up and running. We're still booking initial assessments for sort of prime time appointments about 3 to 4 weeks out. If people are willing to be seen kind of during business hours or during the school day, we can get them in almost immediately, at least for the initial assessment, and then we can kind of work with them to find times that might be more amenable to their schedules. Let's see. I don't want to fully steal Kelly's thunder, but she's going to be providing my team and the clinic team with some QPR and Narcan training next month, and we're really excited for that. We're working on a plan to have every bridge employee trained in both of those interventions as well. I like to sing the praises of our teen center. It's a great place for kids to come and hang out, get active, be social in a safe, supervised, and substance-free place. The leadership committee at the teen center is in the planning stages for some community service projects. Historically, we do a lot of food drive type projects, and I believe that's what's sort of on the docket at the moment. And also the Bridge Diaper Bank, which is a program associated with our Family Resource Center. It's not directly prevention related, although I think it is important in the community to have people's needs met as a preventative measure. And so I don't actually, as I was putting my list together, I realized I don't have any solid details on that. So if anybody's interested in donating or in referring to that, you can reach out directly to me, and I'm happy to share more information. Last year we piloted it. The FRC was noticing, you know, families were having trouble getting, you know, basic needs met, diapers being one. And so the FRC started a diaper bank, and it was really successful. We had a lot of people, actually it worked in conjunction. Our leadership kids did a diaper drive as well. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Thanks.
Okay. Any questions for Chris? Okay, thank you, Chris. And Kelly again.
Hey everybody, Kelly Waterhouse again, West Hartford Social Services. One thing that I didn't have on my list to kind of report out on, but because of some of the conversation and things that have come up, it kind of jarred my memory that maybe it's relevant. I attend the Children's Behavioral Health Advisory Council meetings, which is like their state level like report outs from different departments, and that's a meeting that happens monthly. So last Friday was the one that had just happened. So in terms of some of the things that, that the state is trying to do, on a bigger level to address mental health, children's behavioral health, like all of those types of systems, there have been 17 additional pediatric psychiatric beds that have been added in the state. So some of those are in Manchester and some of those are in Hartford. So they are, trying to expand that. Sometimes it happens to be in our area of the state, which is great. I think some of the other areas, like there was questions of like, hey, we don't have this out in Bridgeport or whatever. So like, there's more expansion that's being worked on. There's also a new application called My DSS. And this is available through like mobile phones, which will tell people like their benefit amounts and stuff like that for different like benefits that they get. So like you can easily check like kind of where they're at. There's been, I think they reported like 125 enhanced care clinics or bed or availability or whatever that has been added. So maybe not 105 clinics, but like space for people to be seen through enhanced care clinics. DCF, Tim Marshall from DCF had reported out that obviously the new legislative session will focus a lot on children's mental health, but DCF just expanded looking at implementing contracts to increase the hours for children's mobile crisis. So I believe that hours were expanded for adults. So they are, ultimately they want it to be kind of like a 20, you know what I mean? Like 24 hours. So they are in the works of like, there was some contract language and things like that, but that is looking to be expanded in terms of the hours for that. I think those were, I'm just trying to look at like my quick notes that I had taken, because if anyone's interested, like those meetings are open to the public and they happen monthly, and there's those that participate. You got Department of DEMIS, you got State Department of Education. So they actually have a program going on too, where there was six districts that they selected to do a pilot program to basically do an evaluation of their systems and identify any like gaps, particularly around like mental health and like what they're doing and what can be done to help facilitate better care for kids. DCF participates, Department of Social Services. They've recently added Office of Early Childhood. They weren't mandated through this, but because there were a lot of questions coming up around children's services and whatnot, they were added. So in terms of my kind of report out for the West Hartford Prevention Partnership, there's a lot that's been going on that I've been trying to focus in on. Our next meeting for that group is happening on Thursday, next Thursday from like 5 to 6:30, 7 o'clock. That will be a virtual meeting being held on Zoom. We are in the midst of applying, I think I'd mentioned this before, for the state opioid response mini grant. It's called the SOAR mini grant. So that is up to $5,000 to focus on prevention efforts and response regarding the opioid epidemic. So there's a couple of like key like things that deliverables of things that you have to do. And then there's like some of the selective stuff that you can work on. So they want you to be utilizing kind of like the Change the Script campaigns and some of those like larger state campaigns that already exist and promoting that. So a lot of those materials are free and available. So I've ordered some of those. We'll try to get those out to like the schools. The previous grant that we had as well through DEMIS and Amplify, the focus on like the vaping and other actions around substance use. We're partnering with both the health district around the Drug Take Back Day that's happening on April 30th. So that's a national like program, National Drug Take Back. That's going to be at Charter Oak International Academy. The drug take back component is from 10 to 2. But we're looking to also, I've secured, so this is definitely going to happen, to be able to use the inside of the building to have a community resource fair. So that will be a focus on mental health and substance abuse resources. It might branch out slightly, but I'm hoping to really hone in on those key points. So, you know, if there's people that are present that represent various agencies that do that work, they'll be invited to come. And, you know, I'll be looking to, you know, identify who would be best, you know, to have tabling at that so that they can share what is available for families, for both prevention, intervention, treatment, like all of those types of, and supports, right? So like peer support, things like that. I did get trained last night through Amplify, and basically through my commitment through being the local prevention council through the West Hartford Prevention Partnership to be a Narcan trainer. So I'm already a certified QPR trainer. And so right now, the SOAR grant, they really want you to look at providing Narcan trainings and QPR trainings to the community, because a lot of times, sometimes obviously the overdoses are related to suicide, or, you know, there's dual diagnosis type stuff going on. So I'll be looking to plan offering Narcan and QPR trainings to the community. Chris already mentioned that I have one set up to try to train the bridge. I'm hoping and maybe that we can plan one to take place actually on April 30th, which is Drug Take Back Day, and do that like in the morning, and then have the resource fair be from like 11:30 to 1:30. I don't expect people to table for 4 hours. So I'm looking to really have that be a big event that we can springboard off into National Mental Health Awareness Month, which is in May, or week. So that will take place right before that. Also have reached out to and was partnering actually with Chris. We were talking about it earlier today. We already had a plan through the other grant to utilize and have somebody trained in the Courageous Parenting 101, which is available through the Courage to Speak Foundation. So Ginger Katz, who is the CEO of that and founded that organization, had lost her son to an opioid overdose. So she goes out and she's done national speakings. She has some grants through SAMHSA as well, or DEMIS rather, sorry, to go out and to do presentations within the community. So we're going to work to roll out doing one of those trainings in West Hartford for parents. But with some of the funding that she has, actually meeting with Melissa Caballero on Monday to see if there's if we can utilize Ms. Katz to do a presentation as well, kind of in conjunction. So I know that there's already Chris Herron stuff that's going on, but trying to capitalize on, probably there's going to be more interest now with the rise in the overdoses and fentanyl, and this really impacting youth more so right now. So I think, you know, while we have a captive kind of audience and people are paying attention to this, I think it's really important to try to do as much as we can around this issue. We had done the youth vaping seminar last month. So we had about 5 participants that actually logged into that. That was like a virtual training that we had partnered with West Hartford TV. And so hopefully we'll have some kids that will actually submit some videos, and we'll be able to do a couple public service announcements around vaping. We also were, through the grant, passing some funds along to the Heron Club project. So I think that some of those monies were maybe going to help to get some other schools trained and to kind of do some peer-to-peer like mentoring and training to try to get the clubs established elsewhere as well. Questions?
That's a lot, Kelly. You've been very busy.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to hear about the Narcan training. That's great.
Yeah, I was also looking at like if there was any town policies or whatever around that. So I was talking to our risk manager around that. I think ultimately Narcan is like, there's Good Samaritan laws that exist around that. So there really
Yes.
isn't like liability, and it's
That's
not a
right.
harmful substance, like even if you
That's correct.
inject it in someone. So it's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we had to look into that a lot when I ran a young adult services program and did that training for a lot of our staff who had those same concerns. And they were just mental health assistant ones, and we can't be doing this. We're not trained, et cetera. But yeah, they had that protection.
I mean, I will say, you know, as since I'm still in the midst of writing this grant for the SOAR grant, if there's any suggestions or thoughts while this is still in process, I mean, I think we you know, we have ideas of a couple things, but a lot of the stuff is still free. I mean, that's available. So if there's a particular training for like staff or you know, something that might, you know, fall within that range. I'm exploring billboards. Billboards are expensive, like to try to do a campaign around that. So any type of promotion around prevention or training or whatever, if anybody has any thoughts, I have to have this grant in by Friday. So let me know.
You mean tomorrow?
Next week.
Oh, okay.
We've
Yeah,
already
you and I-
submitted the letter of intent, so the mayor signed off on it, and I'm collecting, we have to have 5 supporting letters, letters of support or whatever of commitment. So I'm working on getting those as well. I have a few from folks that are represented here. So.
Yeah, you and I should have a separate conversation about that.
Okay.
Would be helpful.
Chris, do you have a question for me, or is it separate?
It's separate.
I think the mental health and substance abuse issue is such a huge one right now, and not just for adults, but I think about, you know, the kids and everything that's going on with the mask mandate and the removal or potential removal of that in the schools, and the unions or non-unions and everything that's going on. There's so many different aspects of it, and the kids who, for the last 2 years, their social lives have been in such a different from what anybody else has ever known in their entire lives. And what's that going to mean when it goes back to what had been the norm? Things are going to be very different. And how are kids going to adapt to that? How can we help them adapt to that? It's up to us to help them adapt to that. They'll be looking to us in some ways to help them adapt to that. And how will they cope with that? So that translates directly into mental health and substance abuse issues. And there are already a lot of those out there. So I have concerns about that. I'm glad we have this wonderful group of people working on those issues. They're not easy. But it's clear you're very thoughtful about those, so gives me hope. Anything else, Kelly? Or
I know that one of the things I think that I've had conversations with Melissa Hickey about too is just a resource guide of some sort, you know what I mean? Like that could be a project for an intern, or I don't know if that's something that this group wants to help to try to put together with doing like a working document. But having a couple of referrals lately with youth that are substance abusing that are presenting with not necessarily needing to be revived through Narcan, but kind of brings up the treatment, the whole treatment thing for like youth with substance abuse, with kids that maybe are in denial or don't really want treatment, as far as how to help guide and coach parents. I'm looking for support around that, and I think other folks are too, of like how to kind of force kids, right? Or if being in their home environments aren't the best, like how to really go about kind of more that inpatient level of care for them.
Mm-hmm. Do you mean how to engage the kids or how to engage the parents or both?
Well, both and the system.
And the system, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many gaps in service in the system. Yeah. Okay. Is Andrea still here on the call? Oh, okay. I guess we've come to the public comment section.
I didn't see any call-ins. It was just everybody that was here.
Okay. Well, do we have any other comments or issues from members?
Yeah, I just wanted to, sorry, this is Chris again. I just wanted to add, so I had reached out to the director of the Family Resource Center, Deb Zipkin, to see if she had any info. I forwarded the flyer to you, Carl, and to Howard, so hopefully you can share it out with the rest of the group. But the diaper drive starts officially February 14th and runs through May 14th. And people can drop diapers off at the Bridge Main office at 1022 Farmington Ave or at the Family Resource Center at Charter Oak Academy, preschool entrance at the corner of Oakwood and Flatbush Avenue.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Yes, Claire.
Yes, at the end of every Board of Ed meeting, there is a opportunity for members to share out any reports from some of the committees that we're liaisons for. So if in this committee there is an announcement or something that is being initiated, please feel free to share a blurb with me. I mean, I get all your minutes, but if you ever want to make a direct comment, there's a lot of people that watch the Board of Ed. It gets in the minutes, so it might get the word out for something that you're trying to recruit more people.
Oh, okay. Is this specifically for the Board of Education?
They just ask for any committee reports. So, we go and we get the minutes. I go to WHCI board meetings and I go to this meeting. The other members go to like Foundation for West Hartford Public Schools. So yeah, I think it's more education, but anything with a teen center or, anything involving the kids would definitely fit in that. And if you're doing a drive or a new program or a speaker for high school parents, that would be pertinent. So I'm happy to report out or to try to help through the Board of Ed meeting.
Maybe it's just me, but I would say the accomplishments of 2021 would be a good thing to share with them because it's from the citizens of the town of West Hartford, and it's their perspective of what the needs are for the town of West Hartford in terms of mental health and substance abuse.
Yeah, and since you have that list, I maybe a little condensed, it's at the end of the meeting, but I would love to share because I don't know, how many people know all the work that you do, and that compilation of the last year is impressive.
Yeah, it's only 2 pages, so that might be a good starting point to share something with them.
Yeah, so this isn't a live meeting in the actual Board of Ed.
Oh.
So it's more of an announcement of something. It could be included.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? So it's like, does anyone
okay.
have something to report out from a committee that they've been on? So it would be a event, a drive, initiative that you're doing, that kind of thing.
Okay, I understand. Okay, thank you.
I just have something to note. Nordia was sending an email to me. Apparently, there was some confusion because of the meeting that I chair next week, and I had sent out a meeting invite today. And I think Carl, like you, I think she might have been trying to join with that. So that's why Nordia wasn't here.
Yeah, one of the invites said the 17th.
Right, that's for the West Hartford Prevention Partnership meeting that I run, and that's going to be via Zoom. So a couple of people that are on this are also on the distribution for that. So I apologize for the confusion. So if for future communications, please make sure that you're noting. I know there's subtle differences, but pay attention to which meeting it is.
Okay. Okay. Right. Well, thank you all. If there, without objection, I move for meeting to be adjourned. Are there any objections? In that case, we are adjourned. Have a lovely evening, all. Great seeing you. We'll see you in person.